Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Casey Wexo, and I'm the coordinator of Transfer and Off-Campus Student Life. I want to welcome you to our last webinar in our summer webinar series for new transfer students. My first question I'm going to ask everyone is can everyone hear me okay? Can you just go ahead and type in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen and just chat and let me know if you can hear me okay? While folks are doing that, I do want to give you a couple quick reminders. First of all of you have been muted, so if you have questions as we go along in the webinar, you can just go ahead and type them in the chat box. And again, that chat box is on the right-hand side of the screen. And you can chat your questions at any time. We'll answer maybe a few of them throughout, but we'll also leave time at the end of the webinar for questions as well. I did want to let everyone know that we are recording the webinar today, so if you ever want to reference back to this webinar, we'll actually have that recording for you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to my colleagues over at the Student Organization Resource Center, and they're going to talk to you about how to get involved on campus. So I'm going to let them go ahead and introduce themselves, and then I'll hand it over to you guys to take over.
Thank you, Casey. My name is Natasha Pineros. I am a graduate student here at the University of Maryland, and my job is at the Student Organization Resource Center. So I'm the graduate assistant there. Whenever you come visit, you can come and say hi.
And my name is Kaylin Skelton, and I'm a transfer student here at University of Maryland. This coming up year will be my last year as a senior, and I am a student manager in the Student Organization Resource Center.
So here you have our email addresses. We can come back to this slide at the end of the webinar so you can reference, but you can also find it on our webpage, which will show you how to find it later today. So before we begin, I want to ask you if you can write on the text box, how many student organizations do you think that we have here at the University of Maryland? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds.
I could play the Jeopardy music. Okay,
here we go. 75, 600.
Any other guesses? 300?
And the answer is, what is 906 student organizations? That's how many times you can be involved here on campus. The organizations range from athletic clubs to social fraternities, sororities, and even academic honor societies. So later today we'll go around and show you how you can find them.
In our office, we provide, the primary purpose of our office is to support students through their involvement in student organizations. We do this by offering free meeting rooms if you're involved in an organization, free marketing and advertising, workshops, programming, and renting lockers for your student organizations.
If you have not come to visit the University of Maryland yet, we are located in the Adele H. Stamp Student Union, which is the center of campus life here at the University of Maryland. Our office, as the arrow shows, is specifically on the right-hand side of the building when you're facing the building. It's on the ground floor. This is exactly room 0208 if you ever have to reference it. And we welcome you to come and visit. In this space, you can study, of course. We have a lot of meeting space, so we encourage you to come see our facility. But you don't have to be quiet. It's something that I like to say everyone. We have music playing in the suite. We have different chairs and different meeting rooms for you and your student organization to come and take advantage of. But please don't feel free to think that this is like the library. This is a collaboration space, and this is a space made for you. When you come and visit, you can ask questions to our student staff who will be sitting in the front desk. Our hours are posted on our website. And here you can watch out for programming for workshops that we'll be hosting throughout the semesters. If you're interested in finding more about the Student Government Association and the student entertainment events, they are also located in the Student Involvement Suite. So you'll find SORC, C, and SGA here on the ground floor of the Adele H. Stamp Student Union.
Okay, and now I'm just going to talk about my experience as a transfer student. I transferred to University of Maryland last fall, and I have gotten involved in many different ways, but these are just a few highlights of how I got involved. So I just wanted to mention, don't be afraid to speak up. Whether it is saying hello or just asking a question, there's always someone willing to talk to you, and you never know who you'll meet. From experience, when I first walked into one of my major classes, a lot of the students were talking to each other, which made it very intimidating to talk to a lot of students. But once I started talking to other students, I realized about half my class were transfer students, which was very comforting for me. So just don't be afraid to speak up. And when I first attended the welcome, the president's welcome speech, I talked to a few students there and found out about the Transfer to Terps class, and I signed up right away. And through that class, which is still available, you can go ahead and look it up. But through that class, it helps students get involved on campus, and we were each assigned a mentor. And my mentor that I had for the class, she was actually the manager and still is the manager of SORC, which is where I'm working currently and have a job at. So you never know who you're going to meet. And through those connections, you're going to make a ton more connections, and you never know who could help you in the long run. I just also wanted to mention, take advantage of campus opportunities. There's lots of opportunities, including football games, basketball games, which student tickets are free for students. So those are definitely available for students, and you can always bring a guest. Those you'll have to pay for, but students have free tickets. I also suggest the First Look Fair, which we'll be talking about next, and all-nighter. There's always events going on campus because we have so many organizations. Those organizations will provide tons of events as well. Even though it can be stressful at some times, I highly suggest taking a break and attending events when you can. There's lots of evening events if you have morning classes, afternoon classes, so there's always something going on around campus. And I would highly suggest joining social medias. We'll talk about our personal social medias for SORC, but there's tons of different social medias, including TOSL, the STAMP Student Union. We have a social media for that as well. So just lots of different things.
And I'd like to share that I was also a transfer student when I was in college. And the best thing that I could have done was to get involved. In college, you'll find whatever institution you attended, some institutions call it a club fair. We call it the First Look Fair. So this day, actually it's 2 days, September 12th and Thursday, September 13th, in the McKeldin Mall between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., you can find clubs and organizations that are going to be tabling throughout that time. You're going to find the same clubs both days, so if you can't make it on Wednesday, you can come on Thursday. But this is the perfect opportunity for you to come and talk face-to-face with the student representatives of each organization. I do want to mention that only half of our student organizations get tables. So if you are not able to come, it's okay. But if you're not able to walk the entire time around McKeldin Mall, you can check out OrgSync, which is our online interface to find student organizations and how to get involved. So I'm going to move out of the PowerPoint. I'm going to share my screen with you to show you how you can log into OrgSync, our database of organizations, and how you can find student orgs. So when you first go to orgsync.umd.edu, you're going to see this page. When you have more time, you can go through this page and you can learn about all the resources that you can get through OrgSync, but this is the main page. Once you hit OrgSync login, you're going to be sent to this page. So this is my profile, and it's going to send you directly to the edit page the first time that you log in. So here, I've already edited my name, my last name, and my email address. But by default, the first time that you log in, it's going to say, Natasha, first-time user, Pineros, first-time user. So if you don't want to be first-time user, then I strongly suggest that you take a look at this before you click save. And here, the email address is going to use your terpmail at terpmail.umd.edu address. So if you have a different email address that you check more frequently, I suggest that you change that email address too so that you can get more better updates. So then you're going to scroll down through this basic profile, and you can add as much information as you want, but it's not mandatory. And then you're going to click continue. Again, it's going to tell you more about, it's going to ask you more information about yourself, and you don't have to give more information if you don't want to. And then there's my profile. Moving forward, you can bookmark this page, and the screen that you're going to see the next time you want to log in is going to be this page. So orgsync.umd.edu is going to look like this. The next time you log in, you're going to see this page. All you have to do is sign in with your campus ID, which you will have, and your password. And then you go straight to OrgSync. So the next part that I want to show you is how to search for a club or an organization. So this is the homepage of the OrgSync at the University of Maryland. And we're going to go to the tab that says Organizations. In this page, you're going to find different ways of searching for an organization. You can scroll through all of them, you can search by name or keyword, or you can go to find any organization by the first letter of the name. I would strongly suggest that you search by the name because let's say you want to join the Black Student Union, right? So I would go to the B, and then I would try and find Black Student Union. I see Black Belt Club, Black Business Association, Black Engineers. Do you not have a Black Student Union? Yes, we do. The problem is that you'll find them under T, the Black Student Union. So just make sure that you're mindful of those different ways of searching. So let's search Black Student Union, and there we go, the Black Student Union. So I want you all to, in the text box, suggest maybe an organization or a club that you've been thinking about joining, and then we can go ahead and search that organization.
So go ahead and use the chat box again on the right-hand side. And again, share with us what's a club or an organization or maybe just a topic area that you're thinking about joining the club. We'll just give you a minute to do that. Don't be shy. Okay, so I see a couple entries here.
So we have Native American Association, journalism, psychology, pre-med. Let's find out. So let's see if we have anything to do with psychology. So all I could find was TEDx UMD. What about maybe journalism? We have the Catalyst Undergraduate Research Journal, the Paper Shell Review, and the Writer's Block. So this sounds interesting. Even though it doesn't have journalism in its name, we're going to go ahead and search and see what this club is all about. So don't mind this. I'm an admin, and that's why I see this. But typically, when you go to a club's page, you're going to be able to find some information about the club on their profile tab. So we can see that the Paper Shell Review is UMD's undergraduate journal of critical essays. They accept essays on literary criticism as well as other scholarly critical essays on text. So if this is something that you're interested in, then you would go ahead and join. You would see a tab here, but I can't because I'm an admin. You would see a tab that would ask you to join. Then you're going to get another box that asks you to explain why you want to join. You don't have to be thorough. You can simply put, I'm interested in journalism, so I want to check out the paper shell review. And that's it. And someone from the club is going to accept your request, and you're going to be part of OrgSync's profile. Now, here's the thing. If you join here on OrgSync, that doesn't automatically make you a club member, right? So the next step that I would encourage you to do is to find their contact information here on their page. So their email address is papershellreview@gmail.com. So I encourage you, if they don't have their meeting times stated here on their page, I strongly encourage you to email them and ask them. Say, hey, my name is Natasha. I'm a new student here at the University of Maryland. I'm really interested in learning more about your student organization. When do you meet? The other way of finding their meeting times, or if you don't want to go to a meeting, maybe you just want to see what kind of events they put on, then I would encourage you to find maybe their website, right? So some organizations will have a website, they'll have their Facebook page here, they'll even have their events posted on their OrgSync page. Right now, maybe it's the summer, they don't have any events. If they wanted to post news, they would also put it on this tab. So this is a way that you can search for an organization. So we're going to go back to the main page of OrgSync. And so again, we were on the organizations page and we searched for an organization. OrgSync also has the ability to show you all of the events that are being hosted across the university by all the student organizations. So if we go into the events tab, here you'll find a calendar of all of the events that are currently happening, right? So we're currently in the summer. I'm going to move us to April when we had a busier semester. And let's say you were bored on April 18th and you wanted to know what to do. So all day there's this Women Build Week. At 6 p.m. there was a guest speaker. And again at 6 p.m. there was a weekly discussion offered by the Secular Student Alliance at the University of Maryland. So this is a wonderful tool for you to use on a regular basis. I have my OrgSync account bookmarked because I always want to know what's going around campus. And so if you go to the events tab, you can know on a daily basis exactly what organizations are organizing events around campus. The other tab that I want to show you is service opportunities across campus. Maybe you're interested more in engaging with the community and volunteer opportunities, and OrgSync also allows you to search for these events. So under service opportunities, you'll see that Community Service Learning is having a national night out on August 7th, right? So right now there are no more spots available, so you may not be able to volunteer for that. But RAIN is having an event on September 2nd, and I've been a hotline volunteer before, so maybe I want to try this again. I want to meet new people. So again, you would click on the event and you would see what the event is actually about. So OrgSync is a wonderful tool that you can use remotely, where you can browse all of the organizations that we have here on campus. It's free, and I strongly encourage you to make use of it.
Okay. Another way for us to stay connected with you is that you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So I'll go ahead and show you the pages. This is our Facebook page. So we're Maryland Student Organization Resource Center. This is our Instagram page. So our username is Maryland Sork. You can follow us on Instagram. And then we also have a Twitter page as well. So if you follow us on Twitter, you will see this. And we are UMD Student Orgs at Maryland Sork. We also have a newsletter, which is The Word. You will receive our newsletter after registering for an organization, but you can find it on our website.
So here are all of our handles. If you would like me to send you this PowerPoint, please send your email in the text box at the end of our webinar. And all of these are linked to our social media accounts. And here in this link, you'll be directed to our website where all of our newsletters are stored there for your use.
Great. So thank you so much, Natasha and Caitlin, for walking us through how to find organizations and how to get involved. This is now the time for questions. So I encourage you to go ahead and share your questions, again, in the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. I know it sometimes takes a little bit for us to get warmed up, so we might go ahead and answer a few questions in the interim, but please go ahead and enter your questions. So guys, I see a question from Nicholas who is asking, what do you share on social media? So give us a little incentive, a little sneak peek. Why should the students be following you on social media?
Sure. So you're going to find new content in the social media. So right now you'll see that we haven't posted lately because we're starting we're formulating new content to share with you. So starting in the fall semester, you're going to find information on workshops that we're throwing, on different programming that you'll find in the suite. You'll learn more about different organizations that are going to get spotlight every once in a while. So you're not going to get bombarded by a lot of information that's not relevant to a student organization. But if you want to learn about student organizations, if you find yourself involved in a student organization, then following us is going to be very beneficial to you. Thank you for asking.
Great. Just a reminder, go ahead and share your screen or your questions in the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. I know a question that I get often by new students is, you know, how involved should students get, particularly their first semester? So, you know, Caitlin, could you share a little bit about how active you were your first semester versus later on? And Natasha, you know, when you transferred, how active were you your first semester? Do you have any tips for balancing, you know, academics in a new environment with getting involved?
As a transfer student from a community college, I felt already comfortable with the level of courses. So that part of moving away from home, that part I felt comfortable with, but living away from home was the hardest part for me. So trying to balance out living at home but also making new friends and being on campus really helped that transition. So I tried to stay on campus during the weekend. So a lot of events I went to were in the evening and on the weekends so that I wasn't just stuck at in my apartment studying all the time. But to balance out how often I went to events and whatnot, I definitely attended a lot of football games. I really enjoyed going to the games with a lot of new students that I met. But yeah, so just trying to balance studying and going to events, just knowing how much work you have to do. So you definitely have to be able to prioritize your work. If you know that's something that you can start early, I would go ahead and do that, and then that way you feel more comfortable going to more events. But yeah.
My experience was a little bit different because I went to an institution that was much smaller than this one. It was a medium-sized institution with about 6,000 students. And I transferred from a community college. I was very involved, and when I don't have much to do in my hands, I don't do anything at all. So I knew that as soon as the semester began, I needed to be doing something, whether it was a job or whether it was a student organization or sports. So I joined student government. I joined the Latin Association just to keep myself busy. But just like Caitlin said, it was a new institution for me, and I needed to make sure that I didn't have too much on my plate. So while I knew that I was interested in clubs, I would just attend their club meetings to get a gauge of how much time I want to commit myself to this organization. but I definitely prioritized my academics before I volunteered for an event and delved myself deeper into that organization.
Definitely good advice. I failed to mention at the beginning of this webinar that I was also a transfer student, also transferred from a community college, and I just want to share my piece of advice, which is my first semester, my strategy was to join one organization and then take it from there. So if I could offer a piece of advice, maybe if you're a little nervous about balancing academics with getting involved, make it a goal to say, I'm going to join one organization, pick one, and then you can take it from there. So if you could set yourself a goal for that, that's a great way to start getting involved. I see there's a question, as a commuter, can I still be active in student organizations? I know that Caitlin is a commuter student. Natasha, I'm not sure if you were when you transferred, but Caitlin, do you want to share, your perspective on that? Can students still be active if they're a commuter student?
Definitely. As a commuter student, you can come to campus as long as you want, especially with your permit when you get car permits if you're parking. You can come onto campus, you can go to the library, go to the Stamp Student Union. We're open really late during the week. I don't know the exact hours, but you can find it on the Stamp's website. We're definitely open so that you can come to campus. And for my first semester, I definitely went to a lot of events and I attended events. But during my second semester, I spent more time volunteering for events and being a part of more events. So I would recommend just trying out where you want to be, like what organizations you want to be a part of during your first semester, and then slowly start to commit to those if you really enjoy and find passion in those organizations. But
I was not a commuter when I transferred to my four-year institution, but as I went to community college, I did drive to school every day, and I was highly involved. My strategy was to prioritize school and my class schedule. So if I knew that student government met on Wednesdays, maybe I didn't pick up a shift on my job on Wednesdays, but if class interfered with my involvement, then that semester I might have just been a little less involved. Didn't go to the club meeting, but read the emails. So I still found the ability to keep an on-campus job, an off-campus job when I needed it, while also being involved, even though I had to drive about 20 minutes from home.
I saw another question about a different type of involvement, which is working on campus. So I can go ahead and start answering the question to give a couple of resources, and then Caitlin, I'd love if you could give your perspective on what it's like to work on campus and how that what that involvement feels like. So two suggestions for you. If you're looking for an on-campus job, which we highly recommend, University of Maryland employs over 5,000 students across campus, so it's a very popular option for students to work on campus. The Career Center has a page that's dedicated to part-time on and off-campus job searches. So they actually have websites for the highest the departments that hire the highest number of students. So departments like STAMP, like the Department of Transportation Services, or DOTS, or Rec-Well. So if you go to the Career Center, careers.umd.edu, you can just type in their search box part-time jobs, and it'll pop up a little window on on-campus jobs. As Catherine shared with everyone, the Careers for Terp site is also a great way to look for both on and off-campus employment. And if you have any questions about either of those resources that I mentioned, you're in luck because we did a webinar. Our last webinar was on developing your career, and we were joined by the director of the Career Center, and he shared a little bit about tips for finding on-campus jobs. So that webinar was recorded. So if you missed that one and you're looking for an on-campus job, I highly recommend that you check out that webinar. I'm going to give the webinar link in just a little bit. Okay, other questions that you all might have, and sorry, to go back to the campus employment, yes, Caitlin, do you want to share a little bit about your experience of working on campus?
definitely. Working on campus has been very convenient, especially when going to classes. I've noticed that the offices on campus are very flexible because they understand that you're a full-time student, part-time student, so you're going to classes, and right now you are in the stage where you are focusing on school, and school is your primary focus. So they're very flexible, and a lot of offices, depending on the hours of the day, some offices, they have student workers who work late in the evening. So there's different offices throughout the day. Here in Stork, where I work, I can either work early in the morning, during the afternoon, or even late in the evening. So it's very flexible, and I also get to work on the weekend, which is convenient because I can go to my classes during the week, and if I have time on the weekend, I can go into work on the weekend. So it's just, everybody is very understanding of where you're at, and they just want to help you succeed, and having an on-campus job can be just very convenient because you're in the same place. You're going to classes, and then you just go into work, and then, yeah, so it's just very convenient.
Great, thanks, Caitlin. That's a great perspective. While we're waiting for other questions, I do see that we have another question about something that's a little bit outside of involvement. So we can certainly ask questions if you have other questions about just kind of what it's like to transfer here in general, or if you just want some general advice and want to pick Caitlin and Natasha's brains as a transfer student and former transfer student. But I did have another question for Natasha and Caitlin, which is, if in the 905 organizations we have, if a student doesn't see what they're looking for, I know another common question we get is, can students start a club? So can you both talk a little bit about, is that possible? And what's the process like? Do students do that? What are some things that folks should think about if that's something that they're thinking about?
Definitely. You can definitely start a new organization if you can't find one on campus that we already have. There are requirements to start a new organization, but you have to have at least 8 members of your organization to start an organization. And then you'll go ahead and create an OrgSync account, which is what the website we talked about before, and you'll have to create a constitution, and you'll have to have the roster of the list of people who are going to be a part of your club, just so you can get your organization started. And then once you get your organization started, you'll have a lot of opportunities to get SGA funding, but then you'll have to have 25 members to do that. I'll just make note of that, is that you have to have 25 members. But once you get up to that size, you can get SGA funding to start purchasing items for your club. And you can also get printing opportunities, so you'll be able to print in our office, and you'll get a budget for that. So there's just lots of different opportunities, but yes, you can definitely start a new organization. If you need help starting a new organization, you can always come into our office, and our staff will be more than welcome to help you and start that.
For sure. If you visit our website, there's a link specifically talking about how to create a new student organization. So it'll talk about new registrations. And so there you can find all of the steps necessary. Just like Caitlin said, you'll need a constitution, you'll need an advisor. The constitution needs to meet certain guidelines. So if you go on our website, you browse through that link, and then you can find all the information you need to start a new organization.
Great. Sounds like that's a good opportunity for folks who maybe want to start off in a new opportunity. While we're waiting for any last questions that you might have, again, we have a few more minutes if you have any questions. And again, we're happy to answer questions if it's something just about the transfer student experience in general. I do see one question about what to expect when you attend transfer orientation. So for those of you who will be attending the transfer orientations in August, I look forward to seeing you there. I'll be there in the mornings as part of the morning presentation. But it is a one-day orientation, and orientation will start off with just providing general information. There's like a welcome from a professor, and then our office co-presents with orientation about everything you need to know about the transfer experience, from commuting to finding housing to how to get involved, which of course we did a much deeper dive today than we normally do an orientation day. And then students break up into their majors. So for example, Caitlin during her transfer orientation went to the College of Education part. And at that academic college portion, you'll sit down with an academic advisor who will go through your transcript, explain to you how your courses will transfer, explain to you what courses you've left in your degree plan, and then they will help you register for classes. At that point, you're done, and they break students, they kind of let students go on their own to go get their student ID. So I like to call transfer orientation as a one-stop shop. You will leave that day being fully prepared for the fall. And then after orientation, you are allowed to amend your course schedule if you need to add a class, drop a class, and certainly if you have any follow-up questions about classes after that, you can then go ask those at your academic college. So I hope that answers your question. If you have additional questions, you can feel free to follow up with me directly. I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation with you if you need some more information.
Can I just make a recommendation?
Sure.
For transfer orientation, you have the opportunity to bring your parents with you. So if you have a parent or guardian that you would like to bring with you, I'd highly suggest it because there's a separate information session for them. So they'll be getting lots of information about campus. And a lot of that information we might not get covered in the transfer orientation. So it's always nice to have someone with you so that they can tell you of the information. But there's always resources out there for that.
Great. Thanks, Caitlin. So I think that's all the questions we have. So I'm just going to thank you very much, Caitlin and Natasha. That was an awesome presentation, and I certainly hope that you all got a lot from that information. Just a couple things that I want to say to wrap up. All right, so I mentioned that this is the last webinar in our webinar series. So we do have all of the webinars have been recorded and they are posted on our website. So if you need to go back and refresh your memory about, if you're still looking for off-campus housing, or maybe you need to refresh your memory on commuting strategies, or maybe you want to go back to that webinar on career development and find out more about how to find an on-campus job, or how to best develop your career, you can go to our website, which is stamp.umd.edu/TOSL, TOCSL. And if you go to the New Students tab, under Summer Opportunities, we have all of the links to the recordings, and we'll be posting this one probably tomorrow as well. So if you want to refer back to this webinar, you're welcome to do that as well. And next, just want to give a reminder that Transfer and Off-Campus Student Life, we are here to serve you, our transfer students. So if you need anything, please feel free to reach out to us and to use us as a resource. I already mentioned our website, but our email is tocsl@umd.edu. And you're welcome to contact us if you have any questions. We like to think of ourselves as a go-to resource for transfer students. So I think all three of us can understand that University of Maryland can be a little overwhelming at times. So maybe if you have a question and you're not sure where to go, come to us and we're happy to help point you in the right direction or to answer a question whenever possible. Caitlin, during her presentation, mentioned our Transfer to Turf Learning Community. So if you'd like to learn more about that course, the course number is HESI 310. It's HESI 310. We do have a couple spots left in the class, mostly in my section, so you'd be stuck with me. Hopefully that's okay. I do bake excellent cookies. But if you'd like to learn more about that class, our website is stamp.umd.edu/T2T. Another program I just want to mention as you're navigating the transfer process is our office runs a peer-to-peer mentoring program. So if you'd like to sign up for a mentor who is a transfer student, so they've been through this experience before, you can sign up for a peer mentor on our website. And then lastly, similar to SORC, we also have social media. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and our handle is @UMD-TOSL. In addition to sharing information about our upcoming events, we also share information about resources like the First Look Fair. We also share information. We do scholarship alerts, so if we see a scholarship come up, we'll share that. So we try to keep it fun and light as well. So try to keep it entertaining. So we certainly hope that you will follow us. And then very lastly, mark your calendar. So August 24th, Caitlin mentioned that one of our first experiences here at Maryland was at our new student welcome. She was at both our fall and also at our spring one to welcome the new spring students. And so that event is going to be August 24th. It's going to be a ton of fun. It actually starts, that's the wrong time. It starts at 3:30 to 5 o'clock at Xfinity Center. And we're going to be doing engagement activities with other students, so you'll get to meet new transfer and off-campus students. We're going to play games. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have refreshments. It's going to be a lot of fun and a great way to meet other new students. And from that, we'll walk over together as one big group to the President's Welcome and the New Student Barbecue. So you will leave with a lot of food and a lot of free stuff, and hopefully a lot of new friends. So we definitely hope that you will join us for that as well. So with that, we are out of time for today. Again, we want to thank you all for joining us. And again, if there's anything we can do to help facilitate a positive transition for you to University of Maryland, please let us know. And again, if you'd like to come visit us, I do see a question about where our office is located. We are also located just down the hall from SORC. So we are also located in Stamp on the ground floor near the Capital One Bank. And so it's on the edge, we're on the other side of the Stamp building that SORC is located. So thank you again for joining us, and we definitely look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.